Mr. Walker, he told me to call him Adrian. Please. But Mr. Walker, we are so honored that you will accept the Open Door Award this morning from Old South Church. And we are honored that we give this award in memory of the legacy of Phillis Wheatley as a poet laureate of the American Revolution. The Open Door Award is named for the words that are carved above the church's entryway. The words are this: "Behold, I have set before thee an open door," from the book of Revelations. It was in the 1760s and the 1780s that Phillis Wheatley pried open doors that had been closed to women, to enslaved persons, and to persons of African descent. And so today, on Phillis Wheatley Sunday, it is fitting that we lift you up and honor you, Adrian Walker, for standing in line with those persons who continue to open doors by any means necessary. Adrian grew up in Miami, and he reports that he loved writing since he was old enough to read. While a student at Florida International University, he hoped to become an English professor, but he joined the school newspaper and his career plans changed. He worked at the Miami News and then came to the Boston Globe in 1989. He covered local news, followed by city and state politics. However, since 1998, Adrian has been writing and reporting as a Metro columnist for the Boston Globe. His columns appear on Monday and Wednesday in the Metro sections. Adrian contributed to the Boston Globe coverage of the Boston Marathon bombings, for which the Globe won a Pulitzer Prize in 2014. But most recently, we know this writer, we know this man, as he served on Boston Globe Spotlight team that produced an ambitious 7-part series called Boston: Racism, Image, Reality. This series took on one of the hardest questions facing this city. Does Boston deserve its racist reputation? The series continues in 2018 with the work singularly shouldered by Phillis Wheatley almost 3 centuries ago. So we are so grateful, Adrian, for exposing and putting a light on what we call America's original sin, racism. Your work is contributing very much to needed dialogue and discourse around this city and beyond. Talks about race. So Adrian, Old South Church is honored to present you with the Open Door Award. May God continue to bless you. May God continue to grant you courage to say those things that others will not ever say. And may God continue to give you strength to be the man that God has created you to be. You bless us. Gotta get the hair.
Well, thank you so much. What a great honor and privilege to be with you this morning. And thanks so much for that wonderful presentation. I must say that being named a recipient of the Open Door Award was a blessing that came out of nowhere. Now, it's one thing to be honored by my colleagues in journalism, but this feels like it falls into a different category. I'm glad I wasn't honored the same year as Deval Patrick or Elizabeth Warren, because I've seen them speak many times and I wouldn't have wanted to follow them. I've had a number of roles at the Globe over the years, but they've all boiled down to the same thing: just trying to tell this city's story, one piece at a time. As we all know, Boston is endlessly stimulating, dynamic, and ever-changing. One of my mentors of the Globe, the great Marty Nolan, used to say that the building of a great city is never complete, and I've certainly found that to be the case. So the story is constantly changing as we change along with it. Last year, I had the pleasure of spending 6 months with my colleagues on the Spotlight team, exploring how race plays out in the city. As you've heard, we produced a 7-part series that appeared in mid-December. We looked at race in the context of Boston's halls of power, its hospitals, its colleges and universities, the realm of sports. And much of what we found was disturbing. As someone who has written a lot about the subject over the years, I thought I knew what we would find. In some ways I did, but in other ways I didn't. The aftermath of this series has taken me by surprise in a wonderful way. Collectively, we've been invited to appear at roughly 50 forums to discuss our findings. At colleges, law firms, ad agencies, you've named it. We found a city that wants to have this conversation, which I was not at all certain would be the case. We found a city that wants to get better at living together. I don't think that's a small thing. I'm often asked at these events what people can do next. The last day of the project was devoted to solutions, which range from changing the city charter to allow for more shared power, to renaming Yawkey Way, which has been done, to having courageous, uncomfortable conversations with friends and neighbors. Having had a few more months to think about it, I think I'll add one. One thing I was struck by in reporting the series was how unconscious discrimination can often be. Whether we were reporting on the lack of diversity in the Seaport or the shortage of black partners in major law firms, so often the answer to the question, how did we get here, was a completely sincere, well, we never thought about it. So I've become a great believer in the power of noticing. Yes, we should talk and must talk and talk some more. But maybe the first step is simply to be more intentional in daily life. You don't have to hold office or wield power in any conventional sense to bear witness to the world around you. And I think that can be the beginning of great change. Thank you again for honoring me on Phillis Wheatley Sunday with this year's Open Door Award. Old South Church is such a vital part of the city, and it is wonderful beyond words to be recognized by you. Thank you, and God bless.